Hello. Where am I? Okay, I'm on YouTube and I'm just setting up on Facebook. I'm like a talking head at night. I have better lights, but I couldn't be bothered getting them out. You don't care what I look like. You don't need to see me. I'm just here answering questions. So, oops. If you have any questions, that's what I'm here for. I'm just waiting for people to turn up. Okay. I did a live earlier. I thought I'd try another one at this time of night. I don't usually do them this late, so I like to mix it up and see what happens. And I've got one person on Facebook and 5 on YouTube. That's unusual. Usually I don't have very many people on YouTube usually, so welcome. YouTube's picking up a bit. So is Facebook. My big platforms are Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, so those lives are really busy. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm a parenting coach. I'm just here doing a Q&A. I'm on here usually at least once a day, and for a couple of years now. And anyway, if you go to the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old. It's all about you and your leadership. How to get respect. Whoops, sorry, YouTube. How to get respect in 5 weeks. Or you can look into coaching. You have to email me to apply for coaching because my schedule is really busy right now. So I won't take you on if I don't have time. Or I might send you somewhere else if I think you just need a course, because I don't want to waste your time and all that with coaching if you don't need it. Okay, so parenting questions. I'm just here answering questions. Lee Swag is here again. Swag. Cool name. Okay. Just going to have some kombucha. I just went clothes shopping tonight. I don't know if I'm the only one out there, but I hate shopping like with a passion. I'd always rather scrub a toilet. I love cleaning. But yeah, I was clothes shopping tonight, so I hate it. Anyway, okay. I have it notifying me when you're on. I'm so energized by your wise advice. Excellent. I thought it was a good leader, but I'm learning that I have several areas to improve in. We've all got stuff to improve on, right? So yeah, I'm always learning every single day. I'm in my 60s. I used to think I was really smart. The older I get, the dumber I am. In other words, I realize I've still got a lot to learn. When you're young, I think because you've learned so much, you're so impressed with yourself when you're young that you've learned all this. And now I'm like, wow, I haven't even touched the surface of everything I want to learn in life. So yeah, it's never ending. If you're not learning, you may as well be dead. I always think if I don't learn something new every day, yeah, it's just, I like to learn. Okay, so parenting questions. Just here waiting. I have some kombucha. Oh, boy, that's good. So I'm just getting a message from my daughter. Just a sec. I'm just going to answer it. Here we go. Sorry, I just got another. Just answering my daughter. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know how to switch screens. Now I messed it all up. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I lost YouTube there. Okay. Let me see if I can get YouTube back here. I mean, I didn't lose you. You can probably still see me, but I messed up. I messed up. There I am. Okay, sorry about that. Technology, I'm 63, give me a break. Okay, what do you do if your 3-year-old, almost 4, starts hitting me and laughing and thinks it's funny? And again, almost 4 years old, put on the behavior board, no hitting, and there's a consequence. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just say if you hit, here's a consequence. They will eventually learn. Consequences are just showing them accountability. It's not a bad thing. I mean, hitting isn't great, but what I mean is discipline, consequences, punishments, I don't see them as negative. I see them as karma. Hey, you do something wrong, karma, I'm here to make sure you got karma, right? So I used to tell my kids, if you're good, life is good. If you're bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of that because I'm your mom and that's my job. So I taught them to make good choices. Like, why would they act out if they knew mom was going to come in with a consequence? It's like, why would you speed? Would you speed through a radar trap if you know you're going to get a ticket? No. Would you act out with a leader knowing you're going to have a consequence? No. Why would they? Okay, I'm a single mom to 6 children. Wow. I adopted 3, full custody of 1, adoption soon, and foster. Oh my gosh. They all have lots of trauma, so often I struggle with how much their trauma impacts their behaviors. The problem with kids, well, not the problem with kids, but what they tend to do is they tend to file stuff away and it comes out at the most weird times. Oftentimes it's just at the dinner table, something will come up that they haven't talked about in years. They do tend to sweep stuff under the emotional carpet because they don't know how to deal with it yet, right? So when they're older, they tend to deal with stuff when they're older. Oh, sorry. They tend to deal with stuff when they're older. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, if you want to work with me, probably don't have the time because you're so busy with all those children. I was adopted, by the way, so I have a lot of compassion for that. Like, not compassion, I loved it. I just thought, I always felt special and chosen. So to me, being adopted I felt really lucky. But anyway, yeah, check out coaching if you're interested. I might be able to help you out with all the trauma. It's difficult. How do I de-escalate an angry 11-year-old nephew? Oh, you have custody of. Okay, you have to have custody for me to answer. When he gets grounded, he yells, screams. I don't ground kids, by the way. Kicks things, okay. Check out my boot camp course. I'm a leader. I lead with love. I lead with fun. I lead with humor. And the discipline's a small part of it. So check out the boot camp course. It goes from 3 to 12 years old. So it actually could go probably to 13 to 14, but I made it 12 for sure. If you've got a 12-year-old, it's still really suitable for you. So yeah, check that out. Might be of interest to you. It's all about you and your leadership. Sorry, just cracked my elbow. I don't know why they call it a funny bone. Okay. Okay, Manya is that from Seinfeld? There was a Manya? Yeah, there was Manya. She was Eastern European, I think, on the show. It's Amanya. Interesting. I've never heard anyone, except for on Seinfeld, it was Amanya. Anyway, says on YouTube, when my toddler ignores my requests, such as cleaning up toys or cooperating during diaper changes, what's the most effective approach to address it? If they're under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. So if they're squirming when they're diaper changing, you just say, no, I'm going to change your diaper, and you hold them down and get it done as fast as possible. You just make it happen. Doesn't matter if it's on right or anything. And with toys, if they won't help you clean up the toy room, then start putting them away so that they can't get to them. I'm just sort of wondering, like, if they're 2 years old, I don't tend to get 2-year-olds to do a lot of cleaning up. So yeah, I would say something like this: hey, let's clean up together. If they don't clean up, I probably wouldn't do anything about it. Yeah, if they're 2. I don't get 2-year-olds to clean. Chores start at 3. But I did a toy rotation system, so I never had many toys out at all. But what I would say to my kids, hey, do you want to go watch TV? Let's put your toys away. That's how I did it. I called it the as soon as method. Sure, you can watch TV as soon as you put your toys away. So stuff like that. But if they only had 5 toys out, that's why I did a toy rotation system. You got to make it really doable. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for I couldn't find it because I changed the wording. It used to be my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. I changed it. My top 5 tips for managing toddlers, because you're really managing them. You're parenting them, but it's more managing them. It's not teaching them a lot of lessons, really. It's just managing them and setting them up for success, making your life as easy as possible. So these are my top 5 tips for managing toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. That's what I was referring to. If you want more information on that, go in my past videos and just look up toy rotation. I know I got tons of those on TikTok especially, probably Instagram too. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler is under the age of 3. When you want to connect with them, you do so in their world. Watch how they play and join in. Don't take them to the nail salon. You play in their world. They just start to look at you differently. That's part of your leadership skills, is entering their world. Number 4 is similar. When you want to discipline a toddler, you do so in their world. Their world is not words, it's actions. Okay? So you use consistent corrective actions when you're disciplining toddlers. I was going to say teenagers. No, you don't. And the last one is number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. Can you figure that out? I can't. So yeah, they're just forming. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got 1 marble and some tumbleweed in there. So yeah, they're just forming. They haven't developed sanity yet. So don't expect too much from them. The thing is, the problem with toddlers and teenagers, the 2 most challenging ages generally, is the toddlers are more physical and the teenagers are more emotional. It's that parents don't understand them. So with toddlers, you're just trying to manage them. They're just crazy when they're little. And then teenagers, you have to change your parenting method. A lot of parents don't do that. They expect to parent the same way with teenagers. You do not. These are my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. By the way, they already know it, okay? But if you get good at this, I call it silent listening. When you get good at this, they'll tell you everything right through the teen years. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. You say something like this: hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? You don't do it with everything, but give it a go. It works, or it can work. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff. If your teenager does something stupid and it's not a big deal, say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. It's okay to make mistakes, just like you did, just like you do, just like we all do. Life's messy. It's not about perfection. But the thing is, it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them and make amends when necessary. Be accountable for them. There's no shame in making mistakes. My daughter just turned 3 and she's still hitting and biting. Check out my course, or actually she just turned 3. Just get the free behavior board, or you can look at the boot camp course. That's just next level up, but you have to pay for that. The behavior board is completely free. The course consists of the behavior board, but it's a lot more, obviously. But I don't know why my hand was running away. Okay, I'm a little bit punchy. I had a busy day. Anyway, so check out the behavior board. Just put down no hitting or biting, or no hurting other people. And then there's a consequence if she does. She'll eventually learn. 3-year-olds don't always get that behavior board, but they learn as you go, okay? How to encourage children over 11 years to use polite words, no cursing? I would just put no swearing. Use the behavior board. Say no swearing or no bad words. And when they do, there's a consequence. So, and you make sure you don't swear either. You have to be on there too. If you swear, you make sure you're on there too. You forgot set up 4 and 5 of parenting teens. Oh, I don't have 4 and 5. Yeah, I only have 3. Did I say 5? I meant 3. I only have 3 tips for parenting teenagers. You know what? I could have 53, but it's just too much. So teenagers they're my favorite age by far. But yeah, that kind of covers it. Is listening, negotiating, and not micromanaging. Don't sweat the small stuff. Allow them to make mistakes. It's really important that they don't feel judged. If they do, they get their back up. That's your front. They get their back up. Okay, so thank you so much. Great advice. Manya. I've never known a Manya. I get clients from all over the world, and some of the names I just say, I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to call you mom and dad, and your kids are 1, 2, and 3. I'm not very good at pronouncing a lot of names. It's like I had a client years ago, and I called him Jesus, and he said, actually, it's pronounced Jesus. Yeah, that was embarrassing. Oh. How to give advice or react to my sister when she told me about her life. She just graduated from college. She changed a lot after her first breakup. She moved on, but now going to club and dating me. Well, I don't give sister advice. I give parenting advice, so I really can't answer that. That's not my specialty. I know what I would say, but I don't give that advice out. That would just be my own personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like I work through my own personal experience, which was working with kids from a mother or mentor perspective. So yeah, I don't discuss that. It's just not my specialty. I wouldn't give you the best advice. That would just be my own personal advice, and I don't give that. My 4-year-old has been losing their minds lately. I wonder if it's a brain growth thing. He is so emotional. Randomly, we would love extra tips. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. Usually at 3, that's when they get feisty because they find their power. When you're not a leader, they find their power at 3. It's a fork in the road at the age of 3. If you're a leader, they're kind of catching on, and by the time they hit 3, they get super easy. If you're not a leader, they often go, wait a minute, you're not a leader. I think I will be. And they go crazy. Fork in the road at 3, not at 4 usually. So I don't know what's going on there. If you want to check out the boot camp course, that teaches you how to be a leader. So you might want to check that out. Or just check out the behavior board. That's completely free. Always was, always will be. I started my business 17 years ago in 2007. And I didn't have a behavior board because I've never used one. I didn't have a behavior board the first year I was teaching, and I was teaching sort of what I did, and then I realized that's not what you do, because I was teaching level 10 with what I do, right? You got to start level 1, level 2, level 3. So then I invented the behavior board and put the parents on it, because I was trying to explain why it's so important to give respect to get it. You've got to be accountable, and then your children will be. You don't expect them to just listen to you. That's ridiculous. That's the old dictator authority style. I don't teach that. So I teach leadership. So yeah, I invented that behavior board, slapped the parents on there, and I haven't changed it in 16 years. Works great. So check that out. That's completely free. Thank you. I love the advice you gave about the whale. It's embedded in my son. Oh, the pool one, the whaley story. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? That's my favorite. That's my favorite video I've ever done. It's my favorite story. I don't feel like telling it tonight. If you look on my Instagram and TikTok, for sure, it's on there, and it's called "Example of Leadership Parenting." I think it's called. I just did that. Just went up about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that video was really good because I hit on every single point. Like sometimes I'll miss a point and I'll go, oh, I should have said that. But that hit, I watched it back and God, it's hard to watch yourself in video. But anyway, I watched that back and I hit every single point. It was I just said it all, like got it all in. If a behavior happens multiple times a day, but only one consequence is, yeah, okay, what you do is, let's say that hitting their little brother is the rule. No hitting your little brother. So they hit their little brother and you say, okay, you hit your little brother, let's go to the board. The board says the first consequence is always a positive action. So they hit their little brother and you say, okay, you have to do a chore. So you have to sweep the kitchen floor. So they do that and then they hit again. So you end up saying, okay, look, you hit 2 or 3 times or whatever. So we're going to go straight to media blackout now. So this is after they've hit a few times. You don't just keep having them sweep the floor all day long. You say, that's enough. You've hit several times now. We're going to go right to 24-hour media blackout. Now your question is probably, what do you do if they keep hitting during that media blackout? Not much you can do. You just say, that's why you've got media blackout. You can't double punish. Like once you've gone to media blackout, that's all you do. You just can remind them, that's why you've got no media. That was your choice. Very calm, very calm. I'd only say that once or maybe twice. But not fair, not fair. Well, you'll know next time, won't you? Yeah, very calm. You're very calm when you're disciplining. I've begun playing more with my 2-year-old. I always say their love language is play. Now she's throwing fits when I have to stop playing or follow me around. The house begging me to play with her all day. I'm starting to feel guilty. Don't feel guilty about that. Just say, okay, we're all done. I'm going to go get something done now. Or you can like she has to learn when you say that's it, then that's it. Get up and walk away. It's up to her to learn that not everything's going to be her own way. She'll eventually learn. She's just tiny. She'll learn. But yeah, she thinks she's got you by the knackers right now, right? She kind of does because you feel guilty. Like, let go of the guilt. That's your worst enemy as a parent, is the guilt. Unless you're doing horrible things to your kids, but most people aren't. So yeah, let go of the guilt. It'll trip you up every single time. Oh, okay. Actually, what time is it? Okay, I got a couple more minutes on here. And then I'm going to move over, so. Okay, sorry. I'm all edgy. I can't sit still. I've been sitting down all day. Had a very busy day. Can you increase media blackout for 24 to 48 or 7 to? Nope, you don't. It's very rare. Maybe in coaching, I'll do it maybe twice a year. And it's very rare. Because then you got a whole 48 hours where there's nothing else you can do. And it's over the top. It's too much. Then you got nowhere else to go. For 2 days, you got nowhere else to go. What are you going to do? Do you want me to tell you when I do it? It's very rare that I'll do this. It's extremely rare. Maybe twice a year. Think of all the sessions, all the coaching I do all year long, and maybe twice a year I'll double it to 48. Never 72. Never, never, never. I'll double it to 48. If you're really interested in how I do that, like I said, it's so rare I ever do it. But it's when they're really, really like nasty to you, and they have to be 9 and above. If you're interested, I'll tell you. But I don't recommend it. It's got to be used with caution because it's so over the top. I hate doing it, but I'll recommend it sometimes. And then I have to spend like 15, 20 minutes explaining how to do it to the parents because it is a very specific way of doing it. Anyway, if you're interested, I'll try and zip through it and explain it. And if I do, I'm going to do it on Instagram because I'm going to be moving over there soon. So if you want to go over to, is media blackout all screens? Yeah, all media, all screens, complete blackout. Anyway, I'm moving over to Instagram now, but I'm on YouTube the whole time. So I go on YouTube the whole time, and then I go Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Okay, so I'm moving over now, and happy parenting. Check out the link above for all my courses and coaching and all that stuff. So happy parenting. Bye now. I just love that sound. I feel like something's happening. Nothing's really happening. I just like that sound. Sorry, I'm just talking to YouTube while I'm doing this. Okay, there we go. Now, YouTube. One parent, dad, loves to allow screen time for hours, and other parent, mom, tries to avoid screen time as much as possible. What to do? You just have to meet in the middle and say, okay, let's agree it's 10 hours a week. That's how you manage screen time. You allot so many hours per week, and you let the kids decide when. If they're 3 or about 5 and over, they can do media management, but you're there to keep track of all the time. But yeah, you just have to negotiate and say with dad, okay, so let's negotiate. How many hours a week do you think the kids should have on screen time? Potty training. Okay, I have a potty training course. It's actually called Potty Party. I think I call it Potty Party. I don't know. I never look at my courses, so I don't know. Anyway, it's really good. I trained my kids. That's my very first course I ever did. I actually made it into, it was a book originally, like 15 years ago. It was a book, and then I turned it into a course. Where is it? Toddler potty party from 1 to 3 years old. So at 2.5 years old, I trained my son in 1 day and my daughter in 2 days. It's a very specific, it's like a party. Just you and your kid, you're throwing a party. It's best to do it one parent and a child because you want your full attention on that child. If the other parent, it's the party, it's all about them, right? And the more you do it this way, the quicker they tend to get trained. So anyway, but then if you're together, you tend to talk to each other, and they might sneak behind a chair and pee there or something. So yeah, you want it to be all about them. Anyway, check it out. It's in the link above. It's the Potty Party. What's it called? Toddler Potty Party. I did that. I did a TV spot. I used to go on morning shows and news and that, and they just have me on as the parenting expert, and they just ask advice, stuff like that. Anyway, one time I went to, it was Breakfast TV here in Vancouver, and they'd set up a toilet for me, and I decorated. They wanted me to decorate it. So I thought, yeah, here I am on TV with a toilet. Classy broad. My sidekick was a toilet. I thought that was so funny. I mean, it was a good visual, it's TV, right? So they like stuff like that. Struck me as funny. As soon as I saw the toilet, I thought, oh God, what am I doing here? Okay. Not sharing during play dates. I don't know. Are they 10? Are they 5? Are they 2? I don't know. Can't teach a 2-year-old to share, by the way. You can just teach them to not grab stuff off other people, but you can't teach them how to share. They might do it, but it's kind of useless. Is it right for me to withhold juice from a 19-month-old until she says please? A little bit. I would say please, and then get it closer. Say please, please, and then you get, yeah. So if they don't, I wouldn't starve the kid until they say please. And then when you do finally give it to her, even though she didn't say please, I wouldn't really look at her. I'd just sort of let her have it. But you can't insist on something and then you just, okay, here you go. You see, it's a inconsistency. So just sort of let her have it without looking at her, like you don't really know she's getting it. It's kind of hard to explain, but anyway. You mentioned you don't like praise. It's praise is okay, but it's not getting you what you want. Praise does not bring out good behavior in children. I've never heard of it done, ever. Not once, not ever. It's done in amalgamation with other things. But just praise on its own is kind of useless. It's empty words. It's just superficial garbage, really. You're wonderful. You're so smart. I know you're a good boy. You won't be doing that again. They're just like this. Consequences get you action. Consequences make a difference. But yeah, praise is overrated. Parents tend to overpraise and underplay. You get more good behavior with playing with your kids because that's their love language. Look at it this way. If you said to a kid, you're wonderful, you're special, I love you so much, I know you're not going to hit again, you're a good boy. Okay, I'm going to go do the dishes. They're like this. But if you say, hey, what are you doing there? Can I join in? They're like this. They're going to be better for you when you play with them more. Yeah, play is their love language. Praise doesn't do much for them. It makes you feel good about yourself, but it's not about you. It's about your kids, getting the best out of the kids, right? I mean, it's about you and your leadership, but it's not about what makes you feel good. It's about what makes your kids feel good. And when they feel good, then you'll naturally feel good because they'll be so respectful, right? Yeah, it's not that I don't like praise. It's just, it's okay thrown in to the mix, but it's overdone instead of other things that are way better, like play. Toddler wants to be held during tantrum. Is that okay? No, that's praising it. That's like good tantrum, good tantrum. It's actually feeding it. It's fertilizing it. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't. I have a tantrum busting course. You must be new here. You wouldn't have asked that because I tend to go on and on and on about how you ignore tantrums. I haven't told that story in a long time, like a good week. The swing story. If anyone wants to hear the swing story, I'll tell it. It's like what you do with a tantrum and what you don't do. It was a very specific story. If you want to hear. Anyway, I have a tantrum busting course if you're interested. It's in the link above. Yeah. If you want me to talk, it's just most people have heard me talk about tantrums. But if you're new here, I'll tell the swing story. But if you've heard it, I don't feel like telling it again. How do you get a 19-month-old to wear hair accessories? I don't know. Your expectations are up here. They're down. It should be down here. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Just let their hair fly. Cut it off. I gave my daughter bangs when she was really little, and then once she could understand, no, you don't touch that, and she had the little fountain. But yeah, and she even pulled that out all the time. They're only babies. They're 19 months old, right? Okay, sorry, I got to skip ahead because people come and go. Oh my goodness, I missed a whole bunch of. Oh, people are asking for the swing story. Okay, I'll tell the swing story. It's a true story. My son was 2 years old, and I took him down to the park, and there was a new mom there. They just moved into the neighborhood. I'd seen her around, but we'd never met. So we're both at the park with our 2-year-old little boys. 2 swings, 2 moms, 2 benches. So we're putting our boys on the swings, and we're chatting. Hi, how are you? I'm Lisa. Whatever. So we're getting to know each other, and both our boys pointed to the other swing. They wanted the other swing, so we're like, well, we're trying to talk, right? Like, let's just switch them, and we're trying to talk. And they both started having a tantrum. Like, they're just nuts, right? They're only 2. So anyway, this is what you don't do. This is what she did. She took her son over to the bench, and she sat and she talked to him all the way through it. I love you. I know you're a good boy. You should have just said, please. And he's screaming more and more and more. He's getting that look, and he's screaming, and she's trying to console him and talk to him. So 20 minutes after the tantrum, he gets the hiccup cries. He's going like that, right? And I'm watching her. I'm thinking, oh, please don't, please don't. She did. She gave him a mini therapy session. She sat and discussed everything he did wrong and what he should have done right. He's 2. He's getting a mini therapy session. Anyway, I thought, this poor kid. So anyway, that was 30 minutes of hell for the mom and the son. This is what I did with my son. Like, as soon as they started tantruming, I took him up to the other bench, sat him down, and he was kicking and screaming and all that. He went to run for the swing, and I put my arm out instantly. There's no way he was going to get back on that swing. He already knew me at this point. He backed up, and he sat in the seat and just had a tantrum. And here's me. I'm looking at the trees. I'm looking at the birds. I'm completely ignoring him. But he knows I know what he knows I'm waiting. It's like I'm waiting for a bus. Like, I would never go on a phone or anything. It's important that you look like you're waiting for that tantrum to end, but you don't look at them and you don't talk to them. You completely ignore the tantrum. So, because I had my arm out, he knows I know he's there. Anyway, and he already knew the drill. His tantrum lasted about 2 minutes. Now, I ignore the crazy, but I instantly reward the calm. And any attention is a reward. As soon as he finished the tantrum, I said, oh, you all done? Okay, let's go back on the swing. And he had a great time. Meanwhile, the other bench was torture. It was torture to watch because this mom, I had a lot of experience with kids before I had them. So it was easy for me. But I thought, oh my goodness, poor woman. By the way, tantrums are never really easy, but it was easier. I don't want to make it sound like it was easy. Tantrums are still really annoying. Anyway, so that's how you manage a tantrum and how you don't. You never discuss a tantrum before, during, or after. There is no point whatsoever. Whenever I get a client who has little kids and they're a child psychologist, because I get a lot of teachers, child psychologists, principals, etc., as clients, I can't do their job, and they struggle with parenting. They're very different. Okay. Anyway, and they often want to know why you ignore a tantrum. Isn't that not validating their feelings and all that? And by the end of by the time we're finished coaching, they never ask me about it again. They get it. So yeah, you don't need to validate everything. You don't need to validate the crazy stuff. If any attention is validating it. Oh, good tantrum, good tantrum. That's what you're doing when you're hugging them. You're encouraging it. Back to the please question. Why? I don't know. Back to the please question. Why shouldn't you refuse to give something to the toddler unless you get it, please? Because it was juice. I wouldn't deprive children of food and drink waiting for a please. But if it was a favorite toy or something like, that they didn't need, then I might withhold it. Yeah, I wouldn't withhold juice. Yeah, that's why. Oh God, this is cute. Oh, okay, you're not gonna laugh, but anyway, this is so cute. Oh God, I love kids. This is great. When I try consequences for my 7-year-old's bad behavior, he tells me if you do, he'll be bad with something else. So he's threatening you. I love kids. They're so funny. Say, okay, fine, whatever. Check out my boot camp course. You might need that. It's all about you and your leadership skills. That reminds me. God, this was so adorable. I was working with this client a couple of weeks ago now, I guess, and they were told me at the very start, our first session. They told me, and they were just a lovely couple, and they told me, they said, "Oh, our 8-year-old girl is very, very bright," and most parents say that. And I didn't think much of it. And after this, I thought, oh, she is bright. And you know what she said? She decided she didn't want the behavior board anymore. So after a week or two, she said to her parents, this is what she said to them: "You're wonderful parents. You don't need that lady anymore." And she tore the behavior board off the wall. I'm that lady. Isn't that adorable? She buttered them up to get rid of that behavior board. Your kid's threatening to get rid of it. And she went the other way. She buttered them up and they put it right back up again. Good for them. They're doing great. But anyway, so our kids are great. So what? They threaten you. So, okay, fine. Go for it. Like, wouldn't bother me at all. That's like that time, that 8-year-old I started working with, and it was one of those where they go, good luck with this one. Like, he was a real challenge. He was 8 years old, and he said to me, I just met him. He says, "If you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit." And I said to him, "Bring it on." And he went like that, and he never did. So yeah, I don't just ignore it. I'm like, bring it on. Good luck with that. Good luck. You think you can threaten me? Yeah, go ahead, have a fit. I never try and avoid a fit tantrum or a scene or a meltdown, because that's their process of learning, hey, wait, I can't get everything I want. That's very important, to allow them to have those scenes. Everyone wants the rainbow, but I always say, are you willing to go through the storm to get there? You don't see a rainbow without a storm, do you? No, everyone wants the rainbow. Well, how do I avoid the fit scenes and tantrums and meltdowns? I'm like, why would you want to? That's where the lessons are. More for you, I think, than them, but that's where the lessons are. Allow them to do that. Allow them to express their anger at not getting what they want, when they want, how they want it. Once you're a leader and it's all settled in, they don't do that anymore. They just don't. It would be embarrassing for them to treat you like that once you're a leader, because they like themselves when they're with you. You're like a friend. You're like a mentor, but you don't take any crap either. You shouldn't hug a screaming toddler. Is he screaming because he's in pain? Or because he's just mad he's not getting his own way? There's no way. Hugging is condoning it. Hugging is a reward. Attention is a reward. Why would I reward a fit because they heard the word no? No way. No way. I'll tell you another story. I had my son at the mall. It was his second to last tantrum, and I don't even know why. He just decided to have a tantrum. Walking through the mall, we're going back to the car, and he has a fit. And I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. So I pulled him off to the side, and I just started filing my nails. I got a nail file and started filing my nails. I'm looking everywhere but at him. So it was funny because it was a very loud, busy mall, so we weren't disturbing anyone. But I guess because I was standing there filing my nails, I was calling attention to myself. And these young moms with little kids kept coming up to me. Oh, you should give him a hug. Talk about his feelings. I'm like, oh, God, they don't know what they're talking about. Taking advice from someone with little kids without experience with hundreds of kids is like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. They don't have a clue. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, fine, keep going. I keep going. But these grandmothers and moms with older kids kept coming up to me saying, you know what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Anyway, it didn't last long. He gets up. I said, oh, y'all done? Okay, let's go back to the car then. And that was it. Now, he only had one more tantrum after that. It was a dilly, by the way. But yeah, he only had one more after that. So yeah, why on earth would you reward that? It doesn't make any sense at all. How long should you let him have his tantrum? I worked with a family years and years ago, probably 15 years ago, and it was the longest tantrum I ever heard of. This kid was a lot older, though, and he was used to getting his own way with tantrums. And he was vomiting. It was awful. And he would stick his fingers down his throat to make himself sick. He'd do anything to get his own way. And anyway, it went on for about 4 or 5 hours. It was ugly. And yeah, it was ugly. He survived. Parents barely survived. But yeah, he never had another one after that. It was his very last hurrah. Oh, the poor parents. I warned them. I said, it's going to get ugly. They just basically had to keep him alive, but still ignore him. Okay. Yeah, 4-year-old doesn't poop in the toilet. Is it a boy? It's usually boys. Not always. I'll tell you why it's usually boys, though. The reason why a lot of kids will not poop in the toilet, there's 3 reasons usually. One is plop phobia. They don't want the splashback. The other one is hanging phobia. They don't like the feeling of it hanging. They'd rather it smashed up in their bum all warm. And the last one is they're cold. So what I suggest you do is just get a little porta potty, explain to them there's not going to be any splashback and it's not going to be hanging. And I'm going to hike the heat up in the bathroom. So have them help you put some toilet paper in the bottom of the little porta potty so they can sort of feel it on their bum and they're more likely to go there. So yeah, but that's why. Boys are more likely to not poop in the toilet because when they get splashback, there's more equipment hanging down there. So they've got more area. But anyway, it's more likely to be boys. Could be a girls too, but more likely boys. I'd say in the last month that I've worked with families who've had that, it's all been boys, but sometimes it's girls too. Okay. Sorry. Checking messages everywhere here. Okay. Oops. My 3-year-old's genuinely not hungry at dinner time, but wants snacks before bed, obviously. How can I teach her to eat now so she's not hungry later? Well, do you give her snacks too close to meal? Like just avoid the snacks after school and just feed her maybe an earlier dinner if she's really hungry, or give her just a piece of fruit, like a little piece of fruit for a snack. So yeah. I'm also thinking she probably likes snack food better than dinner food. Am I right? So she's holding out for the snack food. Is that right? Am I right? Yeah. So make sure if she is hungry later, just offer her dinner again. If that's another way of doing it. Oh, 2.8-year-old is tantruming at the dinner table, strapped into her seat. Should we let her out? I would. Yeah, I don't like them in a straitjacket while they're having a tantrum. I'd probably take them out and then just put them down in a safe place and let them have it out there. Yeah, I probably would. I just thought of them just screaming around. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily always do it, but my gut reaction right now is, yeah, I don't like the idea of them strapped in. Well, let them express themselves wild and free. How do you deal with a 4.5-year-old who tantrums copying his 13-month sister? Well, a tantrum, you cannot copy someone else and have a true tantrum. It's not possible because it takes emotions to have a tantrum. You can't bring those on unless he's an actor, down the road. But you see, no, it's not possible. So I don't quite know what you mean by that. Okay, what would you say are your top 3 rules of being a good leader when it comes to kids? I have my top 3 leadership qualities. I don't like that word, qualities. Anyway, I don't really like the way I've worded it, but I'm not going to change what it is. So these are my top 3 leadership qualities as a parent. Number 1 is you stay calm during the storm. So when you're disciplining, you meet their needs and manage their wants. Managing their wants is the discipline part. Stay calm, completely quiet. Like you talk very quietly, very calm. You talk like this. Hey, I didn't like that. So here's what's going to happen. Do you understand? That's how you talk when you're disciplining. Calm during the storms. Number 2 is crazy during the rainbows. The rainbows are all the fun times. So that's when you can be loud and crazy, just like kids. You can just be goofy and fun and have fun with your kids. The last one is be a great listener. Get really good at using these instead of that. Because if you get really good at listening to understand and show empathy, even with little kids, it's especially important with teenagers. But when you get good at listening, they'll tell you everything. Everything. If they think they're going to get a lecture at the end of it, they're not going to tell you anything. As they get older, they'll stop talking to you. But if you just listen to understand and then shut up, boy, that was hard for me because I love to talk, if you haven't noticed. But anyway, so yeah, become a great listener. You just listen to understand and show empathy. Okay, I'm going to get going over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. In the meantime, you can check out my link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old. It's not about your kids. It's all about you and your leadership skills. It starts out with the behavior board. I start you out real slow and then we ramp it up. By week 3 and 4, you should start to see results. The first 2 are just an investment in week 3 and 4. Anyway, and then week 5 is just wrapping it all up. If you want coaching, my schedule doesn't allow me to take everyone these days, but you can send me an email, and some days I'm taking new people, some days I can't. So, but you're in a queue. and tell me why you want to work with me, because I need to know. Because if it's crisis work, I take all crisis work on. That's the life and death, usually teenage stuff, or trauma or abuse and all that stuff with little kids too. So I will take anyone who writes down crisis, I'll usually take you first priority. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And if you want to go over to TikTok, you can join me there. And I'm on YouTube the whole time. Happy parenting. See, I know people go from Instagram to TikTok because they start dropping out. So I know they're moving over because I get a lot of the same people. I'm talking to you too. Can I ignore tantrums of a 4.5-year-old like this if I didn't use this technique in his younger age? Oh yeah, you can start doing this at any age. Just ignore tantrums. If you intervene in a tantrum, unless you're giving them exactly what they want, which you do not want to do, because then you're rewarding it. So they're going to learn. They're going to be adults having tantrums to get their own way. So yeah, you can still ignore tantrums. But as soon as it's over, you ignore the crazy and reward the calm. As soon as they're done, say, oh, do you want to read a book? Instantly, as soon as it's done, you're sending the message, I ignore the crazy, I reward the calm. But you don't give them what they were having a tantrum over at all. Okay, so we're on, am I on TikTok? I'm pretty sure I am. Anyway, yeah, I am. I'm not sure of that. I'm pretty sure I'm on TikTok. Okay, you said Barbara O'Neill. I don't know who that is. If that's someone else with parenting, I've never looked at anyone else. I've never looked at anyone else. So I only teach through experience. Kids taught me all this stuff. I stay away from why would I look at someone else anyway? I teach through my own experience. So I don't know if it's someone, I don't know who it is. Okay. Don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what that question means, Victor. Okay. How do I deal with my toddlers screaming? I know it's normal, but it drives me crazy. Yeah, you just ignore what you don't like with toddlers usually. If they're just screaming just to get on your nerves, I would sort of just wander off, but don't say anything. Just sort of wander. Every time they scream, just kind of wander off and go and do chores or something. Don't ever walk off in anger. I don't know why you're talking about health people in here. This is a parenting channel, by the way. So yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. 3-year-old covers ears when trying to explain things to him. This is what a 3-year-old could be. Well, why are you trying to explain things to him? Just use the behavior board. And if he covers his ears, he doesn't hear it, follow through with it anyway. But I didn't hear you. That was your choice. You covered your ears. Not my problem. Yeah. Don't let it work. Don't let him win. Yeah. You're letting that get under your skin, aren't you? Whereas to me, I'd go gold. I love it when kids act out with me because I know I can use that to my advantage. Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. My ears were plugged. Well, that was too bad, wasn't it? It wouldn't bother me at all. I love that kind of stuff. You think you can get on the better side of me that way? You think you can win? No. Never, ever, ever let them win when they're being rude and disrespectful. Ever. Never. It's not good for them. It's not for you. It's for them. It's not good for them to be rude. This is kindness. You want nice kids. You know, every single year I got handwritten notes from the principal. If all the children was lovely as your kids right through high school, school would be a dream. What would they say? The school would be a joy or something like that. Yeah, I got every single handwritten notes from the principal every year. You know, and it's funny because people used to often say to me, you're so lucky you got such easy kids. But I put the work in. I earned that. I worked for that. Anyone can do this. You can learn. That's a superpower. What's a superpower? How to handle toddler not getting in car seat or table. Say, I'll do it for you and put them in. Why would you say anything? I would just put them in. If they don't do what they need to do, then I just take action and do it. I don't talk to them about it. No. Why do you need to? Actions speak louder than words. Toddlers, their language is actions. You know what? I don't know who invented this. You get down on their level and you say to them, use your words. That is the stupidest, most patronizing thing I think I've ever heard. They are using their words, screaming, tantruming, yelling, screeching, whining. That is their words. What you're saying is, be more like me. Find your inner adult. It's so ludicrous. I remember the first time I ever saw that. I thought, are you freaking kidding me? Use your words. How patronizing. Could you imagine if you were upset and your friend said to you, use your words? I'm not a violent person, but I might develop that quality if someone said that to me. How annoying, how patronizing. Yeah, don't patronize your children. You be in their world when you're dealing with them. Like, understand their world. Toddler's world is not words, it is actions. So if I say, okay, we're gonna get in the car seat, and they do the big arch and they won't get in, I just get them in there anyway. Might take a while. I wait till they take a breath, and then I do the karate chop to bend them in two. Snap, snap, they're in. My friends and I used to call it the karate chop. How do you get them in the car seat when they're stiff as a board? Wait till they take a breath and then chop. What else can you say than use your words? You don't use words. They're not about words, they're about actions. Toddlers are consistent corrective actions. They're not about words at all. No, I don't use the term tough love at all. No, I talk about leadership. I like your content a lot, but some of what you say is extreme. I do that on purpose because I'm trying to drive my point home. I do exaggerate. I'll admit that. I exaggerate a million times a day, just like that. Yeah, I'm just trying to drive my point home. I'm okay with that. Okay. What do you do when a 6-year-old is having a tantrum, screaming, and slams door and is kicking wall? Okay, here's the thing. This kid is 6 years old. I always say when they get violent during a tantrum, you physically restrain them, unless they're big, and certainly you don't physically restrain them with teenagers, unless they're hurting themselves or hurting someone else. If they're too big to manage, 6 is sort of on the fence there. If they're too big to manage, I would not physically intervene if they're just damaging property. You're just going to have to deal with some holes in the wall until you set yourself up as a leader, okay? It's just the way it is. Can't help you with that. It's just part of it. I know some parents of teenagers, they lose doors and everything. Teenagers have pulled the doors off hinges and everything in anger. What are you going to do about it? You're going to actually get into a physical fight with a teenager? No, never. Okay. How can I teach my son leadership or to think for himself? You mean, I don't know what you mean by that. I don't teach children leadership. I teach them to have a voice and to be confident and to make good choices, but they don't need to be a leader until they're like 13 and up. They want to be their own leaders, right? I respect that. I'm there for the big stuff, though. I'm there as backup. But yeah, think for himself. You problem solve. That's why you don't nag or tell kids what to do. If they have a problem or you're discussing something, say, yeah, that is frustrating. What do you think you should do about it? And then you can say, you know, when I was your age, I think what I did was this. You know, don't ever really tell them what to do. Let them make their own decisions. Both my kids are very good that way. They're both very into problem solving. Like, they don't tend to look to someone else. I'm more likely to do that, which is interesting. I'm a follower in my personal life. If I like someone and I respect them, I'm very much a follower. Whatever they say, I'll say something like this. Oh, can we go out there for dinner? Oh, no, how about we go there? Okay, sure. And I guess because I'm such a leader in my business that in my personal life, I don't want to decide where I go, what I do, what I eat, nothing. I want someone to make all those decisions for me. It's funny. Oh, sports builds leaders. Yeah, it can, but not all kids are going to be leaders. It shouldn't be your end goal because not all kids are going to be leaders. So, yeah. Oh, I don't discuss my adult kids. No, that's their private life. They're adults. I'll discuss them when they were little, and but yeah, I don't discuss them. They don't choose to be on social media, so I don't drag them in. Yeah, I respect their privacy. But I do have a grandchild now, so it's very exciting. Okay. Does spouse have to be on the board with behavior board for it to work? He's mainly with kids. Well, both parents should ideally be on there, but if he really doesn't want to be on there, then don't put him on. It's better to not put him on there if he's not going to participate anyway, because you want to make sure that you show that you're accountable. If he's not willing to have a rule and a consequence, don't put him on there. And don't make a big deal out of it, though. The funny thing is when I'm coaching people, and sometimes I'll be hired, and there's a husband and wife, and it's usually the woman. Not always. Sometimes it's the man. But it's usually the woman, and she's sitting forward all excited about coaching. And then there's the dad in the background like this. Like, he didn't want to hire me at all. I'm like, didn't see. Gee, I wonder who wanted to hire me. Anyway, the funny thing is as things go on, he ends up getting involved too, because he sees the relationship building with the other one. Once they see your leadership and how much fun it is and how much the kids get closer to you and they respect you, the other parent usually wants a part of that too. That's usually how it works. I've actually been hired quite a few times by the other spouse behind the spouse's back, because they get jealous of the relationship that the leader's getting with the kids. So they'll hire me behind their back. It's happened a few times. I always try and encourage them to tell, and they end up telling them, but it's quite funny. But yeah, leadership is fun. Like it's what you want. Okay. Do you ever feel cold with your method with toddlers? I'm naturally empathetic. Oh no, I'm a big player with kids. Like, whenever I'm on here, it's interesting because people always ask me how to discipline. I never really did much of that. I always lead with fun. I lead with play. Toddlers' language, their love language is play and fun. So I lead with that. So yeah, discipline is a tiny, tiny part of all this. Like past the age of about 3.5, I didn't even ever have to discipline my kids right through the teen years because we had mutual respect. And I could just relax and be fun. I was the crazy mother. I was the loud, crazy mother for sure, because I didn't even have to discipline. And then when I worked with kids, my superpower was fun. They used to call me Fun Lisa. So yeah, I lead with fun. But no one ever asked me about that. People ask me how you discipline kids. I hardly ever did. So, because leaders bring out the best in kids. When they like themselves when they're with you, because you're fun and you're engaged with them in their world, they want to please you. So you don't even have to discipline. That's what I teach. But everyone asks me about discipline. No one says, oh, how do you have fun with kids, Lisa? No one ever asked me that. Now someone will, of course. But yeah, I lead with fun, for sure. That is their love language. And with troubled teenagers, I mentored troubled teens. Their love language was humor. I use humor. Happy to have brought it up. Yeah, it's very important. But no one ever asked me about that. I'm reacting to what you're asking me. So, but yeah, in coaching, I emphasize the fun. It's a huge part of coaching. Huge part. The coaching is completely different because I'm in charge of coaching. Like I'm very, very controlling with it, like because I know where I want to take you. And if I just let you ask questions all the time, it doesn't work. Whereas here, I'm just answering questions. In coaching, I don't. It's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. And then I'll ask questions, this, but I have to take total control over coaching to get where I want them to go, right? Like I know what I want your results to be, and I know how to get you there. So, but I'm not answering questions hardly at all in coaching. Yeah, it's very different. But here I'm just responding to your questions. So you get a very different Lisa on here than you do in coaching. Okay. At what age can you start to use the behavior board? The behavior board starts at the age of 3 because that's when they have the ability to learn how to stop and think before they act. That frontal lobe is starting to develop. That's the impulse control. So it starts at the age of 3. Doesn't mean they will right away, but they're starting to learn that. So the behavior board's all about stopping and thinking before you act. And plus, you don't have to discipline them right in the moment. Like with a toddler, it has to be in the moment, right now, because they're consistent corrective actions, right in the moment. With a 3-year-old, you can sort of delay it a little bit and say, okay, I didn't like what you did. Let's go to the behavior board. This is what's going to happen. You can't do that with a 2-year-old. They're off doing something else at that point. They don't all look like that, but how insulting. Oh, God. I'm a little bit loopy tonight. I've had a very busy day. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff that I hate doing. If you've been watching me long enough, it was probably accounting stuff and probably stuff with that kind of thing. Oh, I hate all that stuff so much. And I love my clients. Thank God I get to mix it up with funds. I do love coaching, but all the back end part of the business do a lot of that today. Okay. Okay, good question. I can't really answer it. Well, it's not a good answer. You won't like it. Was the behavior board created to undo bad patterns in the home? Oh, no, that's not the one. Here it is. Someone may have asked this earlier, but have you ever worked with teachers of young children? Well, a huge portion of my clients are teachers, daycare workers, principals, child psychologists, because I can't do their job and they struggle with parenting. They're very different. So I don't teach teaching because I don't know anything about it. I'm not a teacher. So I stay in my lane. I'm very, very strict about that. I stay in my lane. So yeah, but a lot of those people hire me. I couldn't do their job and they struggle with parenting. You know what I mean? Like they're very different. One's an institution, it's business based, and one is personal, it's home. Very different. A lot of stuff crosses over, but a lot doesn't. A very good example of that is the reward chart. They work beautifully in school. It's not personal. There's 30 kids on it, right? It's not personal. They don't take offense to it. So a behavior reward chart at school works really well. And a lot of teachers bring that home. It's a disaster and they can't figure out why. It's because at home, a reward chart says to your child, you're normally rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a reward. See, it's an insult and they take it that way. Parents don't get that though, till I tell them that. A behavior board says you're normally wonderful, but if you should happen to do something rotten, I know how to make you accountable for it. You see? One says you're rotten, the other one says you're good. And it's the opposite to what you would think. So yeah, that's a good example of a lot of teachers and that bring the reward chart at home, and it's a disaster. And they can't figure out why. And then they've got a behavior board and a reward chart. They're rewarding good behavior. They're punishing bad behavior. It's a mess. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. If you check out the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. I've got a very busy schedule these days. So you're going to be in a queue with coaching if I can't take people on in that day. So, but anyway, yeah. So you've got to tell me why you want to work with me if you want to, because I can't take everyone on. I might just redirect you to the boot camp course or something. But if you are in crisis, especially if you've got teenagers, life and death stuff, put crisis in the subject line and I will look at that right away, or when I next look at my emails. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. Happy parenting. Bye now.